Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Going the Distance. This is episode 80. Can you believe we've done 80 episodes? I can't, but I want to welcome the new members who are just joining me for the first time, and I want to welcome back the members who've been joining me from the beginning. Y'all's support is greatly appreciated. So before we get started, I want you guys to hit the thumbs up button and like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I post a video. So we're going to jump into it. To start out with, we're going to talk about Tom Brady and Gillette Stadium. And Tom Brady was with the Patriots for 20 years, won 6 Super Bowls with them, and then went to Tampa Bay, won a Super Bowl with them. The first year he was there, played 3 seasons, I believe, in Tampa Bay, and then retired. Well, after 20 years of playing in Gillette Stadium and six Super Bowls, Gillette Stadium has decided to build a statue of Tom and put it right outside the stadium. And they've already decided they're going to do it, but they're going to unveil it on August the 8th, which I think is great. I think Tampa Bay ought to put a statue there too, because he is the greatest football player of all time, and now he's going into commentary, and he's doing good in commentary too. And it's just amazing to see him throughout his career and how he 6th round draft pick, 199th overall, and he wanted to prove to himself that he could do it. Yeah, there's a little bit that he was probably like, yeah, I want to prove it to everybody else too. But mostly to myself, that I was more than just a, 6th round draft pick. So, you're my quarterback, Tom Brady. Always will be. And I'm thrilled that you're getting this statue. And I can't wait to see what it looks like. And I hope to go to Gillette Stadium one day and see the statue and take a picture by it. I can say I took my picture with Tom Brady. What do you know about that? Moving on, we're going to talk about another Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson. Well, as football fans know, Russell signed a 1-year deal with the New York Giants. Well, yeah, okay, we know this. Peter, you're telling us the obvious. Okay, I understand that. There's a reason I brought that up. Came out that Russell Wilson picked the same locker that he did when he won his Super Bowl back years ago against Denver. Why is that? Why is that so ironic? Well, he plays for the Giants. They play in MetLife Stadium. Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl at MetLife Stadium against. Do y'all remember the quarterback that he beat? That's right. He beat Peyton Manning in the Denver Broncos. And I thought that it was one of the greatest Super Bowls I've ever seen. Russell deserved that Super Bowl. And if he's a superstitious person and he thinks this locker is going to help him win games, then I say go for it, buddy. You absolutely deserve it. I followed you. You've been one of my favorite quarterbacks since you came in. You're humble. You are gracious. You give back to your community. Can't say I'm a big fan of the Giants, but, I want to see you do good. So, we'll see. But congratulations. Glad you got your locker that you did with the Super Bowl. Moving on, Myles Garrett said he wanted Micah Parsons to go to the Browns before Parsons signed the extension with the Cowboys. I don't think that's a good idea. I think Micah Parsons should stay in Dallas. That's where he's more comfortable. And I believe that, Micah did the right thing by staying with Dallas. Seeing him in another uniform just wouldn't be right. Plus, the Browns are, are set. You've got y'all's quarterback. You've got Myles Garrett. You've got all that. So why get greedy? That's how I see it. So now we're going to talk about more of a serious matter. And I know when I say the name, you're going to be like, why is this so serious? We're going to talk about Antonio Brown. I know. He's the joke of the NFL right now. Well, other than Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron's just a joke all around. Anyway, Antonio Brown is wanted by the police department of an attempted murder. He's accused of shooting a man outside an amateur boxing match on May 16th. Y'all, Antonio Brown lost his mind. If y'all remember back when he was playing with Tampa Bay, he just took his jersey off, got mad about something, took his pads off, took his jersey off, and ran to the locker room without his shirt on. And then stood there like, what you gonna do, huh? Yeah. I don't really, am not a fan of Antonio Brown anymore. I used to think he was the best player of the Pittsburgh Steelers back when he was playing with Pittsburgh. But, I'm the type of person where I'm going to try to find the good in most of the teams. Now, there's some teams like Pittsburgh I can't do that with. I can pick one player and say, okay, I want you to do good. The team can stink, but I want you to do good. And Pittsburgh's that. I can't stand them. Antonio Brown was the shining light of that team back in the day, and then I think that's what messed him up. He lost his mind, and we all know what happened there. He went to Oakland, never even played a game, couldn't keep his mouth shut, and then went to the Patriots and still couldn't keep his mouth shut, and then he ended up in Tampa Bay because Tom Brady wanted him in Tampa Bay, lobbied for him to go there, and he's there for like 6 weeks. And he pulls that stunt of, taking his pads off, taking his jersey off, and running to the locker room in, I might add, MetLife Stadium when the Buccaneers were playing the Jets. Dude's lost his mind. So, cops, I hope you find him, and this is one where I hope you lock him up because, dude's gone insane. I think he did it. So, but moving on, we're going to talk a little NBA now. We're going to talk about Russell Westbrook, who was with the Denver Nuggets. Well, then they got eliminated from the playoffs, and as everybody knows, it's the Pacers and the Thunder in the finals now. But Russell Westbrook, who in my opinion is one of the best players in the NBA, has declined his player option with the Nuggets and will end up being a free agent now. And I'm sure he's a free agent now because the Denver Nuggets season is over. But Russell, you've been around. You've been a great player. You've been to Oklahoma. You've been with Denver. I think you went to the Lakers. You've been around. So I think it's time maybe play 1-2 more seasons and then retire. And try to go out on top. Just try to go out on top. And I know that's the goal with everybody. Just go out on top. And he might do that. He might go to a team like Boston. And Boston will win the championship and he can go out on top. That'd be great. So we're going to follow that story. And Russell Westbrook, wherever you go, I'll let you guys know. Moving on to the NBA playoff scores. So on Friday, we had the Thunder defeat the Pacers 111-104 to tie that series at 2 games apiece. And then on Monday, we had the Thunder defeat the Pacers 120-109. So now the Thunder lead that series 3-2, which means tonight's Game 6 could be the win that the Thunder need to win the NBA Finals. If they don't win, they push it to a Game 7, and they're playing in Indianapolis tonight, and I'm sure they'll be playing in Indianapolis in Game 7. So y'all, I hope y'all know when the finals started, I picked the Thunder to win the finals. And now you're one game away. And tonight at 8 o'clock, 8:30 on ABC, tune into the NBA Final Game 6 and see if the Thunder can do it. Moving on to the NHL Stanley Cup. On Thursday, we had the Oilers defeat the Panthers 5-4 in overtime, so they tied that series at 2 games apiece. Didn't have a game on Friday, and then on Saturday, the Panthers defeated the Oilers 5-2 for the Florida to lead that series 3-2, which meant the Panthers were 1 game away from winning the Stanley Cup. And if hockey fans remember, Florida won the Stanley Cup last year, so they could repeat. I picked Florida to win, so let's see if they did it. So, like I said, on Saturday, the Panthers defeated the Oilers 5-2. So now Florida leads 3-2. And then on Tuesday, the Panthers defeated the Oilers 5-1. The Panthers win the series 4-1. Or 4-2, I'm sorry. And win back-to-back Stanley Cups. Now, this is the second Florida team to do that. If you guys remember, hockey fans remember back in, I want to say 2002, 2003, I believe, somewhere around there, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup back-to-back years, and that was after Tom Brady went to the Buccaneers. So the Lightning have done it, and now the Panthers have done it. So now here's the thing. Can they three-peat? And I know I'm starting to sound like, like everybody else when they talk about the cheating Chiefs. Well, can they three-peat? Well, the Chiefs couldn't three-peat. It's hard to three-peat. The Patriots couldn't do it back when and I wish like anything they had. Kansas City hadn't done it. Tampa Bay tried. They made it to the Stanley Cup 3 years in a row and won 2 of the 3 years. And now here the Panthers have made it 2 in a row, and let's see if they can go 3. As I was doing that, we had some news come in from the NFL that Browns quarterback Shadir Sanders has been cited twice this month for speeding, according to police records. So, here we go. Shadir Sanders thinks he's going to be big man on campus because of his last name, and I believe that. And I know I'm going to get some backlash on that, but I believe that. He's going to get some. He thinks he can get away with more because his last name is Sanders. I don't believe that in the slightest. I believe that just because of your last name doesn't give you preferential treatment to go out and do whatever you want to do. But moving on, we're going to talk about the UFL finale, and that was between the Defenders and the Panthers. And y'all, if y'all were like me and picked the Defenders to win, y'all had a heck of a show because the Defenders defeated the Panthers 58-34 to win the UFL championship. Now, that being said, this is the first year since this is only the second year for the UFL. But, excuse me, the Defenders are an XFL team. So, I figured something out. Because the XFL and the USFL combined to make the UFL, and I know I go through that every week, but it needs to be known. last year, when the Stallions won, they were a USFL team. Well, now the Defenders have won, and the Defenders are an XFL team. So, what I think is going to happen, and I could be wrong, but look in my crystal ball and see what's going on. I believe that it's going to be a USFL team win one year and an XFL team win another year. So they're going to go back and forth to keep both leagues happy, because it wouldn't look right for the USFL to just run every year with it, or the XFL to run every year with it and win a championship every single year. In fact, I think it's smart to go USFL, XFL, USFL, XFL, and just go back and forth with that. So, congratulations to the Defenders. Next year, I hope y'all do really good, and let's just see how y'all do next season. And I know we got another year to wait, but we can do it, because here it is already June, and we've already got training camps for the NFL. So football is not going to be gone for long. We're just going to have to go probably a month or two without it, month and a half without it. And then it's going to be back in August. So congratulations to the Defenders. Hats off. Y'all deserve it. And just like the Florida Panthers, y'all deserve the Stanley Cup. And I will be keeping tabs on the parades to see how y'all's championship parades do. That was all for sporting news and scores. So now we're going to move into our music section. And we've got some music news to talk about, because Luke Combs, country star Luke Combs, has become the second best-selling country artist of all time. Well, Peter, Luke Combs is number 2. Who's number 1? I'm glad you guys asked, because you would think it'd be somebody like a George Strait or an Alan Jackson. And it should be. In my opinion, it should be. But it's not. The best-selling country artist of all time is Garth Brooks. He's got the singles, and I'll do what we're listening to on him soon, because we need to know, we need to see why he's the number 1 bestseller. But Luke Combs is now the second bestseller. He's got like 38 RIAA gold records and just platinum records, just everything you can imagine. His CDs sell like hotcakes because he is really good. Luke Combs is one of my favorite country artists. And he's a good Southern boy. So to see that really makes me happy and makes me proud that he's in that category. But moving on to the what we're listening to segment and who we're listening to. And who are we listening to this week? We're listening to Keith Anderson. He's a country artist from Miami, Oklahoma. He started singing in 2001, and I found out about him in 2004 with his Catching Wildflowers song. And, Keith Anderson's one of those ones where he came on the scene, and I was like, okay, I'm used to my 90s country. I'm used to my, Blake Shelton, all that. Well, Keith came on the scene with Picking Wildflowers, and he had the guitars, and he just had everything, you could think of. And the song had to grow on me. But Keith Anderson is a fantastic singer, one of my favorite early 2000s singers. Wish he had gone more into his career. He was a personal trainer. In fact, he played baseball and messed his shoulder up. And then he became a personal trainer, and then he became a country singer. But I know I got sidetracked. He formed in 01. I found out about him in 04 with his Picking Wildflowers song. His debut album was Three Chord Country and American Rock and Roll. He's had three studio albums, 10 singles, 5 music videos. His new album is I'll Bring Country Back. It was in 2014. It says a full-length album, but the album must not have gone anywhere. Because looking at it, me being a country music listener, I didn't hear much from that album. I didn't hear the singles from that album, which is a shame. Because then he became a songwriter after his personal training career, and he's a heck of a songwriter. So I wish we could hear more from him. And I'm sure we do. I'm sure if you look at the liner notes of some of these other artists, you can hear some of the songs that he sang. In fact, one of my favorites that he did, songs that he wrote, was for another artist in Big and Rich when he did the Lost in This Moment song. And his album Come On had his version of it. So what he did is he wrote the song for Big and Rich. And then when Keith's Come On album came out or was recording, he said, you know what, I think I'm going to cut this song too, which a lot of songwriters do. A lot of songwriters go, you know what, I'm going to give this to you, but I've still got rights to it too, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to release an album and I'm going to put it on my album. In fact, speaking of the Come On album, that's actually my favorite album from him. And in the What Song We're Listening, I want you guys to listen to the Come On album because it's a good one. In fact, I'd like for you to listen to both of them. They're not long albums. I think they're like 12 songs apiece. And you can do that in a weekend or an afternoon that you're off work and it's sunny out and you're sitting by the pool. And with it being summertime, Kenny Chesney's got a song called Summertime. So another what we're listening to will be coming from that in Kenny Chesney. But it's summertime with, everything going on. So get out there. You can listen to Come On, Three Chord Country and American Rock and Roll and, just grill out, have some fun. But that's about all I've got for this week, you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, a great weekend. I want to thank you guys for going the distance with me, and we will be back next week with some more, hopefully a championship. We'll be talking about another championship in the NBA. So have a good week, rest of the week, good weekend, and I will see you guys next week. God bless.